The goals of the company are usually pretty clear. Every company has their own high-level marks of their aim and their vision, but asset management is what makes it tangible.
Hello world, Maura Abad here, and we are ready for Asset Management Visionaries Shaping Tomorrow. We have a super guest, Brendon Russ. Welcome, how have you been?
Busy. Busy is good, otherwise very well. Maura, how are you?
I am super great, and now even better having your presence here. One of the things that I enjoy the most is having such a smart group of people that I get to interview, and not only great in a professional way, but great also in a complete humane way. Thank you for being with us and accepting this interview.
Well, thank you, Maura. I'm pleased to be here.
And I know Brendon over 12 years now, but tell the world, who is Brendon Russ?
Well, my name is Brendon Russ. I am the Executive Director of Reliability and Asset Services for a company known as Jones Lang LaSalle, or otherwise JLL, which is a corporate real estate company. And we take care of other assets under the umbrella of asset management for other companies that want to have focus on their primary business, but want us to take care of everything surrounding to and up to their particular business for their facilities.
Wow, and tell us a little bit about the passion about facility management, how it came to be.
So for me, facilities management is one of those things that nobody thinks about. Everybody relies on it, whether they understand it or even acknowledge it. But when you go into your office every day, or when you go into a hotel or any other place of business, that facility needs to be in operations for anything that happens within that place to work. If you think of just like a typical manufacturing plant, it's making widgets. Well, all of the electrical and infrastructure and HVAC systems and all the things that keep that place in a state of being able to produce in is facilities. Or more than likely, all of those skyscrapers and everywhere else that people just walk into and take for granted that the AC is running, that the internet is working, that basically the ceiling tiles aren't going to fall on you. All of that's facilities management. And ultimately, when you look at it, it's the same kinds of equipment that you see across general industry: pumps, fans, boilers, compressors, condensers, valves, instrumentation. It's just that we're not directly producing anything. We're providing an atmosphere for other things to occur.
What a great topic, right? What I'm learning about facility management is people-oriented. That's something that I took away from my studies in facility management, which I'm diving deeper, and that brings us back to asset management. Tell us, for you, what is asset management?
So asset management can mean many different things to a lot of different organizations. And I want to touch on something about that comment. The measure of quality for facilities management is whether or not the people in that space can do what they're supposed to do. So that's a good little takeaway, that whether or not it's comfortable for people to do what they need to do or can support them, that's the measure of quality. Now, what does asset management mean to me? It means a lot of things. It's ultimately this very big, high-level umbrella of what we're there to do. So the goals of the company are usually pretty clear. Every company has their own high-level marks of their aim and their vision, but asset management is what makes it tangible. It's about, okay, what do I need to do to achieve that? What are my assets, the things that drive value for me? Well, how is that in relationship to my goals? Now, how am I going to get the value out of those assets? How am I going to make sure that they're not going to break down or they're not going to deliver as they need to? What are all those things? And it's not just maintenance. It could be anything. We just talked about a little bit about quality, of whether or not this environment's suitable for having this interview. Or could it be about sustainability? It could be practically anything at all. Occupancy, anything at all.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating, the world of facility management and asset management. Now we're going to touch base on digitalization. Brendon has been working with the association that we call the Reliability Leadership Foundation. Tell the world a little bit about your involvement with the Reliability Leadership Foundation, digitalization itself, what it means to you, and much more to come because there's so many questions about what you're producing over there.
Yeah, so I'm the co-leader and co-facilitator of the Digitalization Consortium for the Reliability Leadership Foundation, one of a few different consortiums that are focused on very important topics that we need to create some guidance for the general reliability and asset management community. So we tend to focus on those things that are tangible to the community. What is it that the community needs to know about digitalization or the IoT? Because that's one of the reasons why we came together. Digitalization, IoT, Industry 4.0, you can ask 100 different people that question, what is that? You're gonna get 100 different answers. So we have to come up with something that we can distill into like, how can you make this useful for reliability and asset management? And what digitalization means to me is it's the promise of technology. Technology, and whether it's AI or machine learning or digital twin or agentics or generative AIs, whatever flavor of conversation you want to go in there, those are all tools. What are you trying to do with them? That's the point that we're trying to get is how can we take the technology of the day, the continually advancing technology of the day, and make that relevant and useful and give some guidance for people in the reliability industry to action, to actually drive reliability forward.
And with that being said, tell the world, what is the work that has really been consistent and actionable produced by the team with the Digitalization Consortium for Reliability and Asset Management?
So the Digitalization Consortium has been around for about 3 years. We've created the Purple Passport, which is the framework of the IoT domain and the 8 elements that contained within. We've produced basically a project manager's guide where if I was somebody trying to do an IoT project, how can I take the lessons from that domain and actually action it throughout there? And this year, in 2025, we're really focusing on, it's the year of rights for us. We're creating a booklet of going over the 10 rights of digitalization, which is a part of that IoT framework. And also we've kind of put together 10 rights of AI, right? And there's a lot of different nuances between them. Why are there 2 different rights? Why you have one for digitalization and one for AI? Well, digitalization typically talks a lot about the data side. How do you manage it? How are you going to get it from point A to point B? How are you going to make that useful? There's a lot of governance involved. And the 10 rights of AI, as we continue to move down this ever evolving sort of process of IoT, the use of AI, it changes as it develops, but how people interact with it usually doesn't. So those 10 rights of AI is about finding the place where people and technology meet, and what are those things that we as the users need to have available to us in order to make that useful.
Definitely, and in that educational piece, let's talk about that for a moment for the colleagues that are listening and perhaps they haven't dived yet on artificial intelligence or digitalization. What advice would you let them know that they need to activate perhaps and quickly?
Well, regardless of whether or not they're really in depth into this conversation, everybody's using pieces of that technology today. Google Maps is a wonderful example of a digital twin, for instance. It knows where you are, knows where you want to go, it knows the real-time conditions, and knows when you make a different change, and it recalculates for you. That's an excellent parable for digital twin. If you're trying to dig into this topic, I would go to reliabilityweb.com. And there's plenty of articles and videos that are there in that huge library, database of information for all things reliability, to go find introductory lessons or case studies or other people just like you that are going out there getting those bumps and bruises to give those lessons back to the community.
Since I have known you many years now, I'm very lucky to have met you so many years. You're always taking into new activities and they're volunteer work. Tell us, why do you do this type of activities? What does provide you for you professionally or personally?
So back in 2006, I was on my first reliability job for like 2 months. I was hired and they didn't know what a reliability engineer was supposed to do. They just didn't. They were told by a consultant they needed a reliability engineer. I applied, we talked about what they needed, which is I could do. So all right, what do I do as a reliability engineer? I don't know, go figure it out. So a couple months after I got hired, I went to my first IMC and I was introduced to this community. this community helped empower me to be successful. Every year I would be able to go to an IMC. It wasn't every year, but every year I would be able to go. I would go learn something and bring it back. I would go and learn something else and bring it back. And I did that pretty consistently year over year for quite a long time. And what I learned was that community, if I didn't have that, I would not be here today. So I feel that it is imperative, just from an ethical point of view, that I give back to this community. I help prop other people up. I help raise other people up in their personal reliability journeys to be successful.
That is beautiful. So you recommend people to sign up for different activities. Why not, right?
Yeah, I mean, if this is something that you're passionate about or just frankly want to learn more about, there's not a better way than to go volunteer. You're going to meet people just like you trying to do the same thing, who may have bumped into the same problem, who may have solved it. And there's no way you're going to get there unless you go out.
Definitely, and we all learn together. That's the idea. We will always get going and going with so many activities, reliability, asset management, and digitalization specifically, with so much awareness that we need. That's what we do with the Association of Asset Management Professionals. Now, on that activity of looking and continuous improvement, we know that you are a certified reliability leader, which question number one is, what was the change for you in your career getting that certification? And then the second question is, he didn't just left it there, right? He continued to get a black belt. Tell us about it.
So the way that I approach it in my organization and the way that I teach it to my people is a CRL is a measure of knowledge. You go through, you understand the 5 domains, you've read those books, and you've been able to say, yes, I understand these concepts. I now have a common language, a common understanding that I can speak to other people, and together we can work towards something. The Black Belt program, I feel, is important because it shows a measure of competence. It's not just that I know a thing, but I can do a thing. And not only could, in getting a black belt, I could do a thing across the entire breadth of the uptime elements. And to me, that's a very simple yet powerful thing. When I was doing my belt projects, I was amazed at how easy it really was, because typically you're doing the work every day anyway. It's just documenting it and being able to verify that you achieved value from that, which is actually pretty easy when you sit down and start writing it out. So I am a huge proponent of that Black Belt program. And in my organization, I use it as a motivating factor for my team to also do the thing, because it does it. There's a lot of good benefits. It helps the person. They get a broader, deeper sense of what it is that they do for the organization, for themselves. It gets them the recognition that they deserve for the work that they have. Reliability, just like maintenance, tends to be a little bit of one of those unsung heroes. Nobody calls you and thanks you for that pump that didn't break down today, right? So this is a nice little superlative that you can get that little tangible reward. Yes, I got something. And it provides case studies for reliability. So one thing that in my 20 years of reliability to this day, I still get asked, what is reliability? Why do I need that? Well, because you need to have somebody that can drive this. And having case studies of everything that you've done within your belt projects is very impactful, because the way that the process works is you do your work, you count up your value, somebody else has to commend that, yes, that it worked occurred. You have to turn that in to the Association of Asset Management Professionals, and then they review it and say, yes, this is in fact accurate. So there's a lot of different layers of independent agreements that you produced value, which is hard to come by these days.
Definitely, that validation that is needed. Thank you for explaining the process to people that might be hesitating or what do I do. Definitely contact the Association of Asset Management Professionals and you will be diving. It's basically riding the horse in the direction that it's going.
Yeah, just don't be scared of it. Just honestly, just do one, get it out there. And once you understand the process, the rest will be so easy. I guarantee you're doing this work every day.
And now that you're talking to the community, let's have that call to action. What would you tell to our colleagues around the world regarding asset management in general, if they haven't started, if they're in the middle? Any words of wisdom for them?
I would say widen your gaze. you would be surprised that if all you did was focus on just maintenance, how limited you could be. Expand it to what is important to an organization or what drives their goals. It may have nothing to do with maintenance or uptime. It might have to do with quality or customer relations or sustainability or. But finding out how your work and reliability contributes to that under asset management, because those are the goals of the organization, is really valuable. It's a way of making sure that you're never going to get pigeonholed into just be the guy that looks at pumps.
That's a great call to action. And with that being said, Brendon, on behalf of the Association of Asset Management Professionals, Asset Management Visionaries, we are super honored to have you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for all the work that you're doing in the community. And I cannot wait to see what Brendon Russ will be making of 3 or 5 years from now or 10 years from now. We're really excited to see your progress. Thank you again for this interview.
Thank you, Maura.
And with all of you, remember to follow us. Asset Management Visionaries Shaping Tomorrow. More to come. We're loaded in season 2. More to come. Continue smiling. We'll see you soon.